There's no business like show business. This is what Marshall is saying here, because we are performers here. Marshall, absolute honor, absolute privilege. He's one of my all-time favorite people. I've read all his books, and now this is a new one which I'm anxiously looking to read, and more importantly to understand,
Sure.
and really to move to the next stage of understanding. And to me, that's empathy.
Yes.
And be able to position myself as a business leader in terms of what's going on in the world.
Good.
So one of the taglines here says a myth-busting book.
Yes.
What are the myths, Marshall?
Well, a myth is a book that takes a different view. Not a view that things are hopeless, a view that there are things that people can do.
Right.
And that's what this book is about. The book is not about society, and we're not saying society issues aren't important, they are.
Right.
The book is not that every woman should want to be advanced in an organization. Sometimes they shouldn't or don't want to, that's fine too. This book is very specific. It's for women who do want to make a larger positive difference in the world, and have decided, yes, the world would be better off if they had a little bit more power, a little bit more of that influence, and then some things that women themselves can do to help get there.
I saw a lot of things in there, like networking and putting yourselves first and so on. Perhaps it's a stereotype from my side, and I'm seeking forgiveness in advance, but aren't women better at networking than men, generally speaking?
Yes and no. We
Okay.
talk about that in the book. The answer is, in terms of building relationships,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
In terms of leveraging relationships, no.
Right.
So women are actually better at building relationships across organizations, but are sometimes hesitant to ask people to help them, hesitant to leverage those relationships, hesitant to go for that next level in the organization.
What are the key 2 or 3 things that we need to remember as we go out there, that women need to remember that they must be looking at to be genuinely successful?
Let me give you a couple from the book. One that I just love, and I didn't invent it. In fact, I never even heard of it until the book. And it came from my friend Sally Helgesen, who is the lead author on the book.
Absolutely.
And that is, women are much more likely than men to sacrifice their career for their job. And I never even thought about that concept, but it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Women try to do a fantastic job.
Yeah.
They're more perfectionistic and can get so focused on doing a great job that they don't invest in their larger career. And if you think about it, your promotion is not just a function of doing a great job, it's your preparation for the next level and next level and next level. And I have a story in my own life. When I did a program, I got ranked 4.8 out of 5. I go talk to my friend and said, how can I make it better? And he looked at me and said, you're solving the wrong problem. You shouldn't be trying to make it better, it's good enough. You ought to be looking at your future, your career, how you can really write more, build a better brand. And that advice was true for me, and even more true for many women.
The world is changing. As you know, I talk about the future a lot. And corporate life is changing fundamentally because of technology, development, and so on. Is this book addressing the future in terms of a new future, or is it a future in terms of where we are present incrementally forward?
Well, I think it's both. I mean, let me give you an example. We've been asked to go to Saudi Arabia to talk about this.
Yeah.
That's different.
That's fresh.
That's very, very different,
Yes,
and
yeah.
I don't think that would have happened in the past. So it's talking about, a future for a new Saudi Arabia, a future where women can achieve much higher levels of position, authority, power in life, and I think that's real different.
The other strand was about technology and artificial intelligence and all of these wonderful things that are going to come in and support us and be tools for us in the future. My thesis is that empathy and compassion and intuition and that's relationship building and context and problem solving, these are the new attributes for future leaders. Women are generally brilliant at that. So, is this book helping us to get there, or hopefully they're already there?
We're not already there. We're not even close to already there. I mean, in the Fortune 500 covered America, 27 women CEOs. I don't think. Somebody asked me yesterday, is there a chance we're going to overcorrect? We're a little bit we're not quite there yet. 27 out of 500. We got to go a long way. So I'm not worried about that in my lifetime of overcorrecting. I think I'm right. And my next book is called Stakeholder-Centered Leadership, and it says the leader of the future is going to be a facilitator for the reasons you said. leaders are going to manage knowledge workers.
Yeah.
And the whole history of leadership is based on one assumption: the leader is superior to the people being led, either smarter, braver, somehow better than them, and therefore can somehow talk down to them. In the future, the leader is not going to be superior to the people being led. They're going to be smarter and more knowledgeable than the leader.
Yeah.
The leader is going to need to be a facilitator who doesn't teach people things but helps people learn.
Yeah. A lot of what's going on in the future, corporate structures are changing, the culture is changing, and what we see in the United States, it's being magnified at this point in time because of misuse of data. A lot of the society is changing in terms of how we can pocket people, how we can micro-target people, and so on. So in this shifting environment, does standard corporate life, is it still valid, or are we trying to look for new things that we need to be working on?
And again, I'd say yes and no. There's still going to be organizations. That's not going to change. And even any large company, even the newest new age company of Facebook or any company like that, still has to scale. And they quickly go from a garage startup to a multi-billion-dollar corporation today. And you still have to scale. And when you scale, you still have to have power, and you still have to have relationships. And so I think that that's not going to change. That's not going to change.
When I looked at the cover and I started sort of skimming through, one of the thoughts that came to my mind, just inadvertently almost, was that this would apply for ethnicity.
Yes.
This would apply for any kind of disability.
Yes.
You could be black or brown or from the wrong religion or from the wrong
right.
culture, and then you're cross-fertilizing it. So are these rules generic enough that they can be cross-fertilized?
And the answer is sort of, I don't know. Let me tell you, we've had that, though, comment already many times. So my answer is possibly yes. I can't sit there and say that's why we wrote the book. That wasn't the intention. We weren't thinking about it.
Yeah.
On the other hand, we've had this comment come back so many times, so I've got to believe there's probably a lot of validity in what you're saying.
How would you measure success in terms, what would make you happy? For people who have read this book, say we project ourselves 3 years forward, 5 years forward, what would make you happy?
Well, as I've grown older, to me, what makes me happy, what's meaningful for me, my level of aspiration has gone down and down and down, and my level of impact's gone up and up and up.
Yeah.
And to me, the little things make me happy.
Yeah.
I mean, today, one woman in this room came up to me and she said, you know, my life is better because of something you told me a few years ago.
Right.
That's good enough.
That's great.
So somebody writes me a note and says, you know, my life is better, I'm making a bigger difference because of what I learned. One person.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I don't, you know, I don't have to change the entire society. If I can help just one person have a little bit better life, so I'm not complaining about that. When I coach people now, I say, look, I'm just going to try to help you have a little better life and help the people around you have a little better life. And I always say, is that okay? All right. And you know, you'd be surprised how many people say, yes, that's good enough.
Yeah.
Let's go with that. I used to be a professor and dean, and my goal was to teach people everything. And
Yeah.
now I've coached 150 major CEOs, and my goal is to teach people anything. I'm way over everything, you know. I'm a little too old for everything. Let's just go for something.
Absolutely. One of the most wonderful things you did today was in your sort of 10-minute simulation of what you do in your programs. Can you just share what that process is and what the outcomes are generally?
Well, you were here.
Yes.
And you almost had to be here to appreciate it, but I start out with 4 rules, and you can't, and the women, you watch their faces get progressively impacted with the rules. Rule 1, you can't try to learn something. 2, you can't try to be more productive.
Yes.
3, you can't think about becoming a better person. And then 4, you can't consider helping others. I want you to spend 10 minutes on your own happiness and self-acceptance, and you were here.
Yes, I was.
An amazing number of women get tears in their eyes.
Yes.
And it's kind of like they haven't had 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And just getting over that constant pressure and having to perform and others, and then focusing on what's going to make you happy, what to let go of. A lot of that 10 minutes is about be happy and let go of guilt. A lot of it's about acceptance.
Yeah.
Just acceptance. You know, what do you want to change and what do you need to make peace with? And self-forgiveness, forgiving yourself for not being perfect, for being a human. Sounds pretty simple. You were here.
I was, and
You
I
were
was
here.
touched. I was touched. I was touched, and I was shocked because it's very counterintuitive.
Well, the Times of London, a woman came to this 10-minute program. So she wrote an article about it. And the article started out, who is this fool? Talking about me. Some man getting up, talking about Buddhist philosophy, some stupid American. And she said, oh my God, then we had to close her eyes. She said, this is all very cringeworthy, was her word. She went on, and then she said, I opened my eyes and I was crying. And then she said, maybe this wasn't so stupid. Yeah, I opened my eyes and I was crying. Maybe this wasn't so stupid. Which, by the way, to her credit, for a British woman who writes for the Times, probably not easy to write that article.
Yeah, yeah.
But she was more shocked than you were. And this was in the UK. She's looking at a bunch of women from the UK who are executives sitting there crying.
Yeah.
She thought, whoa, maybe this isn't a joke.
Yeah. You said there, out of the Fortune 500, only 27 of them are women.
I think so. Yeah.
How do we make it 250? What are the key elements that need to happen specifically?
Well, I'm only working on one of the elements. I'm not working on the societal elements.
Yeah.
I'm not working on the law. I'm not working on any macro level issues. And by the way, I'm not saying they aren't important.
Yeah.
As I've grown older, there's a million important things I'm not going to fix.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they aren't important.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fix them. I'm not going to fix any of those things. I'm just working on one thing.
Yeah.
Helping the women that want to get there, get out of their own way, and do the best job they can do of getting there. That's it. And my goal is that maybe that'll help a little.
Yeah. In terms of coaching, what are the kinds of things that we need to be doing going forward? Because 20 years ago, coaching was considered to be, something only a few people do.
Right.
Today, it's become much, much more normal, and like you rightly say, it's fine to be, to seek help.
Right.
And it's wonderful, and I personally find that a very humbling thing, because I love to go and ask for help for people like yourselves. And actually a lot of, to me, it starts with humility.
Yes.
It starts with being able to share things with even the youngest people and so on. So in terms of coaching, what are the kinds of things we need to be looking out for, both as women and also as men, to try and build this bridge and build this connection for all of us to succeed? For me, it's more about harmonization.
Well, I think one thing I'm very proud of is my book Triggers. 27 major CEOs endorsed that book.
Yeah.
Now, why am I so proud?
Yeah.
30 years ago, no CEO would admit to having a coach.
Yeah.
They weren't ashamed to have a coach, embarrassed. Well, today, these are real, you saw the list, these are very important people. I'm the president of the World Bank, I need help.
Right.
I'm the CEO of the Year in the United States, I need help.
Yes.
I won the Presidential Medal of Freedom, I need help.
Yeah.
I'm the CEO of Pfizer, I need help.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of that, because I think today, it's okay to recognize you need help. How many of the top 10 tennis players have a coach?
All of them.
Of course they do.
Absolutely. Yes.
That's why they're in the top 10 tennis players.
Indeed.
Yeah. And by the way, if you don't have a coach, what are your odds on being one of the top 10 tennis players? Probably zero.
Yeah.
Well, they don't have a coach because they're losers. They have a coach because they're winners.
Absolutely.
And I really think I've worked very hard over my career to do one thing: take coaching out of that fixing losers and put it into the helping winners category.
Yeah.
Coaching is very important for helping winners. And I'm very proud of the fact that I don't think it's any longer a stigma to have a coach, or something you have to be embarrassed about. Something you can be proud of.
There were more than 100 women today, 120 women. It was filled up right to the end. There are about 4 token men. Why aren't there 100 men and 100 women here? And why is it? And isn't that what we need to do, is to immerse men in this process for men to grow much more? Women are already there. Men are sort of catching up.
I've already gotten ideas about writing a book for men.
Yes.
And so this is very primitive thinking, because it never dawned on me. I never thought about writing a book for women. That's largely accident, right? Now that this is a big success, so now you write a book for men. Why haven't you done that? Well, I don't know why I didn't do it. Why'd I do this? I don't know. I never thought of it.
Yeah.
But anyway, a book for men, I just had one insight.
Yeah.
I'm not going to share too much, but one insight that I did have. So somebody asked me, why don't I write a book for men?
Yeah.
Or maybe Sally and I can write a book for men.
Yeah.
And a guy was talking to us and with his wife there, and of course he embarrassed his wife, and he said, Well, when the guys are talking and some girl walks by, start with, he said the word girl, which is not so good. His wife was really not she gave him this look like, oh my God, I'm embarrassed you're my husband. Anyway, he did say it.
Yeah.
And then he said, we tend to just be quiet. Well, I thought about that. Why? Well, you could say he doesn't feel as comfortable or whatever. What was he talking about?
Yeah.
What was he talking about? Why does he have to be quiet? Well, if you're really just talking about business and how it can help the company, you don't care if some woman walks by.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what was he talking about? And, you know, I thought about that. And why would you have to be quiet? Why would you have to act differently?
Sure.
Well, you have to act differently because you're talking about something that doesn't have anything to do with business.
Yeah.
And if you just focus on the mission and what are you there for, whether you're a man or a woman, doesn't make any difference. You're not going to be awkward or uncomfortable. You're not going to say anything offensive to women if you're just focused on doing your job. So I think that really getting people to focus on doing their job is going to go a long way for men. And, you know, there was this thing in, like the States, okay, people used to make racist jokes all the time.
Yeah.
Don Rickles.
Yes.
And, you know, I'm not saying he's a good guy or a bad guy. He made jokes about Jewish people. He's Jewish. But I don't think he meant any harm, but he did do that. And then people said, oh, we can't make those jokes anymore. Isn't life terrible? Well, you know, life as we know it today is pretty much continued.
Yeah.
Nobody's died because we quit making racist jokes.
Yeah.
And a lot of this, well, I'm uncomfortable with this women thing, blah, blah, blah. I think it's the same thing. Nobody's going to die here.
Yeah.
You know, you just, okay, don't talk about stuff that's offensive to other people. It's not going to kill you.
Sure.
And by the way, okay, maybe you won't use football analogies. Fine, American football. You're in a global company. You shouldn't be using those analogies anyway. You should be using stuff that everyone can relate to. So I think a lot of it is just good business 101.
Yeah.
And if you just focus on doing good business 101, you probably don't have to worry about being offensive.
Indeed. I mean, I was just thinking about the sequel, How Women Rise.
Yeah.
How Women and Men Rise Together.
Yeah.
How women and men harmonize.
Yeah.
How women and men find a way to connect and grow. Because that's the new world. It is changing.
It is changing.
And therefore, rather than focusing on gender, why don't we focus on harmony? Why don't we focus on development together? I know I'm sounding very utopian, but
Oh, I think it's fine. This book is focused on one thing, though. You were here for the 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That 10 minutes was for women.
Yeah,
It was different.
I see.
It wasn't the same.
Yeah.
That 10 minutes would not have had the same impact on men. There are a couple of differences yet, and that was very clear. In 10 minutes, you could see that difference. As you said, it's shocking.
Yeah.
You almost had to be here to appreciate it, but it's
Indeed.
mind-blowing how different it is.
So look at the younger girls, the teenagers who are going through school and college now and coming through. What's the advice to them? Because for them, it's a clean sheet of paper, and they are now getting out in life. What part of this applies to them? And how
I
do
would
they-
say build a brand. Build a brand, figure out what you want, go for it. Don't get into this foolish, my good work will speak for itself nonsense, which is just, you know, what planet is that on, right? And again, if that were true, no company would need a marketing function.
Yeah.
No, your good work's not going to speak for itself. So you need to sit there and say, okay, how can I be responsible for my own life? And the other thing is, don't be reticent to go for power. What's the definition of power? A lot of women are much more hesitant to go for power. It seems bad. The definition of power is influence potential.
Yeah.
That is the definition of power. You want to make a difference in the world, you got to have power.
Yeah.
If you don't have any power, that's fine. You're not going to make any difference, by definition. So I think more women need to get over that thing about I really shouldn't go for power and say, if you want to make a difference, you got to go for power.
Sure.
You got to have that influence potential. You got to have that lever. And I'm not saying, and one thing I love about the book, we're not making a value judgment. We're not saying any woman should try to get promoted or have power or more influence. What we're saying is the world would be a little better if more women did.
Yes.
And here's some guidelines that help the ones that want to get there.
I understand. And my final question is on empathy. And I'm very keen to develop this muscle, not just by myself, and I hope I am empathetic, but across the board, because this is becoming one of the most powerful new leadership tools.
Right.
What is your advice to us, men or women, for that matter, to build more empathy in our work life, in our day-to-day living, so that we can then impact? And then from empathy we go to compassion, and from compassion we go to altruism. But it starts
Start
with
with empathy. I would say one advice, and it's the 101 what I do for a living, get confidential feedback on what everybody thinks of you.
Right.
If you get confidential feedback, you start learning you're probably not this wonderful human being you thought you were. You're not this empathetic, kind, and sensitive soul.
Yeah.
That you probably have a lot of unconscious stuff going on you're completely unaware of.
Yeah.
Figure out what it is and start fixing this person.
Yeah.
Don't focus your whole life on, let me solve everyone else's problems.
Right.
No, fix me.
Yeah.
Fix this person right here.
Professor Marshall Goldsmith, wonderful to talk to you. This book is not only for women, I think it's as much for men, and I'm extremely grateful and privileged. Thank you, sir.